So next step is going to be to prepare our house. So let's bring the house in here. Okay, so geo. Let me really think quickly if I'm gonna bring it separately. Yeah, let's bring it separately for now. So house. Then here I'm gonna bring a house. It's a beautiful house, okay? And I'm just gonna create a couple of groups here for windows. Okay. Oops. That's gonna be enough. Just gonna get the idea. Okay, group. Windows. Then null. Out. Okay. So we got our house, and now I'm gonna start to set up all our render settings and everything, okay, to get it to work with delayed loads and get all this fire at getting loaded at render time. And for visualizations, we're going to use the meshes we created, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna call this one setup fire. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna press Shift C, and this is gonna be our yeah, just fire. Okay. So I'm gonna bring in here my house. So object merge. And let's bring here the house output. Okay. So I'm gonna delete the ground plane for now. So a blast. Ground. Delete unused groups. Oops. Okay. So now I'm gonna subdivide all this to have more details. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually paint where I want my fire to be. Okay, then I will let you to decide what way you would like to control the placements of your fires, but that's one way to do it. So let's just put a depth at 2. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring paint. Okay, and background is actually gonna be at 1. And I'm gonna go apply to all. Okay, so now my entire object is white. And now I'm gonna start to paint. So here I'm gonna make this one red. Okay, so I can see that my brush is really small. So with Shift pressed, I'm now on the right click button able to change the size of my brush. Okay, so now I can start to kind of paint some areas. those are going to be your main sections. Okay, I'm not going to do the windows right now. I'm going to let you to do this as an exercise to apply what we're doing now for the main fires to the windows. Okay, and of course, if you have any issues whatsoever, just feel free to ask for help. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be just fine. Doesn't have to be a piece of art. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna bring a delete sub. And here I'm gonna use an expression, and I'm gonna say dollar CB is smaller than 0.8, and then delete non-selected. Okay, so now we kept here our main sections. That's going to burn. Everything else is not going to be burning at that point. That could be even animated, you know, to get the fire to spread if you want, but we're not going to push it that far. So that's going to be burning zones. And now I'm going to refine actually this a little bit more, because I want to be able to kind of separate a little bit more all this. Okay, so I'm going to bring a color sub, switch it to primitive. So now I'm going to make it white again. And actually, just to make it easier, just copy this one and put it just before our first paint. Like this, you wouldn't have to go every time into the background tab and reset everything. Just making sure my paint is still there. Hold on. Okay, primitive. Oh yeah, no, not primitive. Points. Okay, that was my bad. Points. We're not painting primitive, but points. Okay. Awesome. So now I'm gonna just paint again. And actually this is gonna help me to just be able to scatter points with different attribute values, okay? So this is gonna be red as well. And once again, I'm just gonna scale up a little bit my brush. And yeah, like this. So now I'm gonna, burning, there we go. Copy this one. And paste this one here and delete selected. So now I have those two different patches of primitives I can use to emit from, to scatter my points from. So these are the random ones. So that's gonna be like big flames or big fires. And then here that's gonna be a smaller one, and we're gonna just call it like small flames. Okay, I'm gonna save my file. Okay, so before I go further here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back up here and I'm gonna create a new geo, and this is where I'm gonna hold all the delayed load shaders that Mantra is gonna look for at random time to get all the information. Okay, so I'm gonna call this one fire 0, and I'm straight gonna create a subnet, and this one it's gonna called instance fire. Okay, so let's just dive straight in here inside the geo. I'm gonna get rid of that file. Here I don't need anything, just a null. Let's call it render, and I'm gonna create here a shop network, and this is where I'm gonna put my delayed node shader in it. So I'm gonna type delayed load procedural. Okay, and in here I'm going to change a few things. We're gonna need to point it to the proper file. Okay, so I'm going to go here, edit parameter interface. I'm just gonna add a few things. I'm going to just close this for 1 sec. Again, bring file geo, and I'm gonna call this folder. So that's gonna be main folder. String. Okay, that's gonna be the file name. So file. I'm just gonna call it name again, and name. No, that was supposed to be name and this folder. Sorry about that. Okay. Now I'm going to let me see where I'm going to bring this. I'm gonna bring it inside my main folder here. Okay, I'm going to add a float here. So floats, then I'm gonna bring 2 integers. Okay, and finally I'm gonna bring 2 more floats. Okay, let's rename all this. So that's gonna be our frame number. Next one, it's gonna be a sim frame. So let's call this SF sim frame. Start frame. Okay, sim frame in one. It's gonna be easier to when we come back later to understand if I do the entire word and not just shortcuts. So sim frame, start frame, start frame. Okay, that's gonna be a multiplier. So multiplier, and that's gonna be our offset. Okay, except so now we have more controls over it. Okay, so here I'm gonna bring, let's say, fire 0. Oops, select just fire 0. Okay, so I'm gonna replace fire 0 with an up digit expression. So up digits, and I'm gonna go 2 levels up. Okay, let me just quickly double check that. If I would go here and put 1 I always like to double check it right away. Okay, perfect. There we go. Actually, just rename this delay load. Okay. So file name, we're going to put Firebase for now. Okay. And now I'm gonna just write here the path for what I'm looking for. Okay. So that's gonna be easier if I go like right click, paste, reference. So folder, then I'm gonna put this. This is gonna be name. Now dot, and we're going to round the number we're gonna get here. So this is gonna be, oops, there should be backdates as well. CH frame, and finally dot bgo dot z. Okay, careful, because remember, but that's actually none of them are compressed. Yeah, so that's be me not consistent, because some of my caches were compressed. Thinking file 1. Yeah, so my mesh here was compressed, particles as well, and not the others. So yeah, just be careful to always keep the same. But that's gonna that shouldn't be such a big deal. So now actually I'm gonna turn this one off, because I noticed I didn't do it, so that's better. So if I look at it up, name, okay, so something is not working here. I gotta find you're working. So why am I having issues with the name? Oh, name 2. Why is it called name 2? That's why. Let me just fix that quickly. Okay, accept. So 55050 and deck. Oh, right. Wait, where did he go? Okay, let's put just fire. Here and okay, fire. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna leave user information on, and now frame. I'm gonna actually copy the expression I had, okay, on my was it? No. Here. Time shift. Okay, of course it's locked, so it doesn't let me to access it. So I'm just gonna lock it quickly. Unlock it. There we go. Up, match current definition, and go back in here. Okay, so now frame. I'm gonna be able to paste that expression. Alt E to open. Okay, enter, and now Alt E to be able to just make sure all the names are working. So those were named differently. So multi, then start frame, sim frame, and offset. Sim frame, start frame, multi, offset. Okay, accept. So what I want to change is just the default values quickly. So frame, I'm gonna for now leave it default at 1, sim frame at 1, start frame at 1. Oh, actually frame, sorry about that, that's not what I want. I'm gonna copy my expression here as a default, multiplier default 1 and offset 0. Okay, so those are my default values, and that fits, that's fine. So now we can see here it's gonna load the same file as well if I apply any offsets. Okay, that works as well. Okay, cool. So we are good here for the looking for the shaders. It's gonna load automatically the right shader file based on the number here of my fire. Okay, so just get up and let's copy these. Okay, so I'm just gonna again double check that if I go here, fire 1, okay, that's correct. So I know fire 2 is gonna be correct as well. Okay, I'm gonna save my file again. Okay, so now that I've set those up, I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna start to scatter my points. Okay, one thing I noticed I just forgot, so I'm gonna fix that quickly. On the instant fire for the materials, okay, for all of them, I'm just gonna grab my fire shader, accept. Okay. Okay, good. Now let's go back where we were. Okay. So I'm going to create a vops up. And I'm gonna do all this inside the subnet because we're gonna have quite a lot of things and we're gonna have to copy paste a couple of times. So instead of having everything outside, I prefer to put it in there. So this I'm gonna call it scatter fire points, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna add some noise now just on the color. Okay, and I'm gonna use this to add some randomness on the way the points are gonna be scattered on the surface. So I'm gonna add an anti-alias noise, grab the position, okay, and put it straight in CD, and I'm gonna bring here a fit range node, and just for now, that's temporary, it makes it just easier to read. I'm gonna bring a scatter. Okay, so it's just easier to read on all those points, right, than that lower res geometry. So I'm just gonna promote those quickly. select those 4 ones, and the range going from -1 to 1. Okay, so now I'm going to be able to change my frequency. I'm actually going to go with a lower frequency. And let me just bring a null. And I'm just going to template this one. Okay. Yeah, but it's going to be just fine. Okay, now I delete my scatter here. And first thing I'm going to do, use an attribute sup. And here I'm going no, not transfer, sorry. Attribute. Okay, try it again. There we go. And I'm gonna delete color. Okay. And there we go. So yeah, if you go in wireframe mode, sometimes it's easier to just see your colors, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna bring a scatter node here. And I'm actually going to duplicate this one, copy parameter, and here paste relative reference, and both of them inside the VOP sub. Difference between those two, it's gonna be now, if I'm just gonna display it like this, and for just make it a bit easier to read just now to see the difference. Okay, let's keep it at 500. I'm gonna focus just here. Now here, alternate attribute, I'm gonna bring in the color, and it's gonna get stronger based on where the white values are. Okay, so between 0 and 1 is gonna get closer to the 1. And if I look at this one, okay, so this is really kind of almost a uniform spread, and this one is really focused based on those attribute values. So yeah, just playing with those attributes, we're just going to be able to control how our points are going to be scattered. Okay, so I'm going to bring this one back as 0. Okay, so that just gives us an extra layer of control on our look. And now I'm going to just bring a switch and put those two together. And now from one to the other, I can decide, okay, I'm going with or without noise. Okay. Another thing, now we have a lot of points really close to each other, and that's not a good idea, right? Because we're gonna have way too much fires in there. So I'm just gonna use a fuse sub, and I'm gonna snap my points together. Okay, so 1 is even too strong, maybe 2. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm just gonna bring another fuse, and I'm gonna now fuse them together. The reason I'm doing it in 2 steps, and here I'm gonna go, keep unused points, because actually make those here. So I'm gonna make snap, and then just fuse. I'm gonna bring a fuse, and I'm gonna show you why I do it in 2 steps, and I just straight here and put here too. Actually, in that case, it's you can't really tell the difference, but I noticed that the way the algorithm behind the consolidate and the snap seems to be different, and a lot of times what I was really looking for was the way the snaps behave, okay, instead of how the consolidate behave. So yeah, unfortunately right now it doesn't show me really the difference I was looking for. Actually, let me. Actually it does. The snap is more gonna look for the average position, right? Instead of the fuse. Sorry, the consolidate. Let me just check one thing. Yeah, no, the consolidate, exactly. So that's what it does. So the consolidate is just gonna grab a point and get all the close ones to it without moving it. Okay, so if you look at point 120 here, so when I go to consolidate, it never moved, okay, but just grab the points around it. Instead of the snap, where we see they're all moving, okay, we're really going for the average value for the position. So that's more what I'm looking for in that case, getting an average position instead of just snapping the closest one to a single point. Okay, so now I'm gonna just go in there, set the up vector and the p-scale vector p-scale attribute. So I'm just gonna use now a point sup, and I'm gonna go to the particle tab, keep up, add, and add scale as well. So I'm just gonna get rid of the expressions. So up, I'm gonna put it at 1, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of variation on the z-axis, okay? So I'm gonna go with a fit 0.1, and I'm gonna do rand, then $pt multiplied by whatever value to get some seed, and minus 0.2 and 0.2. So like this, we're gonna have like a small rotation happening, okay? They're not all gonna be aligned perfectly. And same for the p-scale. So now I'm going to add some p-scale in there. So fit 0.1, oops, 0.1, and again random $pt multiplied by another number, and 0.6 and 1. And what I'm gonna do actually straight here, let me go up on my subnet and already add some parameters. So I'm gonna go here, hide those, and bring a float, and that's gonna be a global scale, okay? So I'm just gonna call it multi as usual, global multiplier, tag, that's fine, and default of 1. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in here and multiply all this by a global multiplier parameter value. So I'm gonna go up here and go for multi. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do here, it's to create an ID attribute. So that's going to help us to define which file to load. So attribute create gonna be ID. So this is up and scale. Let's call this one ID. And as expression, I'm gonna do let's do this. So I'm gonna grab the point number and I'm gonna add to it a round expression, and in there I'm gonna type fit 01 rand. Now this time I'm gonna create a seed parameter up there, so I'm already gonna type it here. So seed, seed between 0 and 10, and then I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have one too much or not? Let me just double check. So I think we're good, and then I'm gonna use the modulo, and that's gonna help me to jump from one to the other. Modulo, let's see. I have 2 caches for the ground fires, so I'm gonna do modulo 2, and this number is gonna be really based on how many different fires you've cached. Okay, more you have, more random it's gonna be, and more variations you're gonna find in your fires. So seed, okay, that's fine. So now if I look at the detail view, points. Oh yeah, points. Okay, so now I have 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, that's fine. Next step. Okay, I'm gonna actually make this an integer. Okay. So now I'm gonna create another attribute. So attribute create. And this one I'm gonna call it PT. PT num, to be different to the default point number variable. So what matters here, it's really for that PD attribute we're creating to have like a random number. So I'm just gonna go with like an expression. The order of the expression and what I'm gonna put in this one doesn't really matter. You could just have another random expression, you know, it's as long as you make sure you're never gonna get the same values. I'm just gonna type like this, and now Alt E. Okay, it's gonna be easier to write it like this. So I want it to be an absolute value. Okay, so here I could use, like, for example, $pt multiplied by what can I put in there? Big value. Let me just hide everything here and keep only PT. And what I'm gonna do, I'm going to multiply this by up digits, and I want to grab here actually, you know what, I called it fire. I'm gonna call this fire house 1, because like this we could have multiple houses, because we don't want to definitely do it in big to the like an entire city, but we could pick a block or just per house, you know. So yeah, just add a number here. So now let me just go back in here. Okay, so let's grab this. So up digits. So I need to go up, I think 3 times. That should be it. Yeah, that seems to be it. Then I'm going to that could be enough. In that case, this one, so it didn't change. And I'm still gonna add one more thing. Add a random expression in here. Rand. What do we have here available? So ID up, ID. Oops. Rand dollar. Oops. Dollar ID. Okay, that should be just fine. Oops. Hold on. That's not what I want. Or actually, deck. Yeah, no, that's fine. That should be okay. Hold on. No. I just want to deck. Actually, I'm gonna bring this one here. And again, you don't have to write the exact same expression as I do. Yeah, that was exactly the same. My bad. And instead of this, I'm going to... I don't want to have any floating numbers in there, so I'm gonna go the same. Let's call this round, and now fit 01. Zero and 500. That's 500 might be a little bit big. 5 should be just fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. That's gonna be more than enough variations in numbers. Again, it's already overkill. Okay, now we're gonna create a really important attribute. So that's gonna be the instance one. So this one is gonna be called and to find what to load at random time. Okay, so that's gonna be instance, and I'm gonna put this one in direct like this. So instance, and this is gonna be a string attribute, point, and string type. And now here I'm going to type this and write the path to it. So it's gonna be I'm going to go up to the firehouse, so that should be it. And then I'm gonna go down. See what I'm going to do here. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna go just here. That's just temporary, just for me to get it faster. Bring the path. Now, cut this one. Paste it here. And I'm gonna switch this to relative path. Okay, tack. And what I want, it's all this. Okay, yeah, so I was missing one. I should have go one higher. And now, here, what I want here, it's gonna be adding the ID attribute. So $ID. One thing, yeah, I think it doesn't like the relative path, so let's do that different. We're going to, for now, ID this. If it lets me to do that, okay. Grab this. Okay, paste it like this. And here I'm gonna go with an update digits. Expression. So now I'm grabbing the digit value. Okay, why is that erroring? Oh, right. That might have been actually the error in the first place, but at the same time I'm thinking that hold on. Extra tokens, so let me just check what's going on here. So fire, instance fire. Oh, right. Okay, better. Yeah, anyway, I think it's better to write it with the full path, because I think Mantra is gonna have issues to load it, because it's not, Mantra is not gonna be inside, obviously, Geo here. So yeah, I think it's safer to put it straight into the full path. Okay, so now we can see it's looking at the correct fires. Okay, now I'm just gonna use a sort sub and just kind of mix up all my point numbers. Okay, so if I go like now here to random, so as you can see it's not assigned the same as before. It's actually still assigned to the same point, but now I can use the point number and it has a new random number. Okay, and this I'm gonna just go sort points. Sort points, that's fine. And I'm gonna add a couple of extra attributes right now, just to be able to get our time offsets working. So attribute create, that's gonna be our offset. And type, switch it to integer. Next one, multiplier. So I'm gonna copy this. Multi So multi, that's okay. After that, so now I'm gonna just change the p scale based on the attribute. So we already have a p scale. Okay, we're just gonna modify it. So attribute create p scale id. That's gonna be, let's say, id 1. So p scale and group, we could say at p scale. Oops. P scale is equal to 1. Let me hide all the others and p scale. Tick tick tick. Tick. Why doesn't it let me to do that? Okay, let's not waste time here. I'm gonna do if oh yeah, right, that's me being stupid. Sorry. At id is equal to 1. That's what I wanted. Okay, better. So if, and I'm just gonna double check. Okay, yep. So now here I'm gonna do $p scale multiplied by 0.05. So we're gonna just scale it down by 2. Okay. And I'm going to add now some normals, because we don't have any normals right now. I'm gonna use a wrangle, point wrangle. So v at n is equal to, so I'm gonna say for now minus 1.9 0 and minus 17.6 or 0.3. Well, that's fine. And now I'm gonna say if dollar, so if at id, it's an integer, so id is equal to, let's say, 1. Okay, I have, remember, just 2 different IDs, so don't choose just 0 and 1, or in your case if you have more. Okay, just get some random IDs in there with higher numbers. I'm kind of stuck with 0 and 1 because that's what I have available, but yeah, whatever you have, put it in there. So now if ID is 1, I'm gonna change the normals. Let me just bypass this for 1 second. Okay, so now we see this. Okay, and I'm gonna hide p scale. So then if that's the case, so now I'm gonna change the normal. So v at n is equal to let's say minus 1.2, 0 and 1. Okay, so we have different normals. So now if I display this in my viewport, okay, we have different normal values. Okay, perfect. And I think we now ready for these points. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now here, I'm just gonna expose a couple of the parameters. So we have a global multiplier, and I'm just gonna add the noise as well. Okay, we had for the scatter. So let's bring this here and call this one noise. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and just bring all this up here. And that was the offset. Oh, no. Forgot first to turn off the prefix. There. Amplitude, roughness, min, max, min, and max. And now the switch, and I'm gonna bring this one up here, and I'm gonna switch it to a toggle and use noise. So if noise is on, okay, so I'm gonna like this stack, and I'm gonna rename this one noise, and I'm gonna select all those, and in here disable one. I'm gonna set noise is equal to 1. Apply, and I'm gonna invert actually those two with pressing R. Okay, so this one doesn't use any noise, and let's just use the seed we had here as well. So ch seed, copy this. Okay, so if I go up, use noise. Oh yeah, right. This it's equal to 0. Okay, that makes more sense. Noise, and I just want to make sure. So use noise. I'm going there. That's fine. Okay, perfect. Up, and now just here the standard thing, ending with a null. Okay, so we can just copy this and paste it here. And now this one, I'm just gonna make it a tiny bit smaller, the global multiplier. Okay, change the seed, and I'm gonna leave everything else different. Maybe just add some offset here. So let's merge those two together. You could add even more here details, right, by deleting even more. I'm not gonna add smaller ones. You gotta. Okay, actually, let's do it differently. I'm gonna hide those two. Invisible. Okay. So I'm going to go up here and create a bunch of parameters. So first one is going to be a sim frame. So integers sim frame. Then we're going to bring a start frame. Multiplier, so that's going to be a float. So multiplier. Offset. And now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring an integer vector 2. And this it's going to be offset range. Okay, so we're going to be able to have a random offset range and not just one. Okay, so I'm going to call this one off rand and offset range. Oh, rand for random. Okay, so just checking. Actually, I'm gonna make it an integer size 2. So I'm gonna, instead of having x, yeah, I'm having one entorian instead of x and y. Okay. And I'm gonna add finally a seed. So let's bring an integer, and there's gonna be a seed. And go up to 100. Accept. Okay. So now we have a bunch of different things here, and we're gonna be able to use this. So first thing I'm going to do here for the offset, I'm going to put an expression. So floor fit 01 random, and that's going to be now an up digits, and I'm going to grab my parent. Okay, so the house file 1. And here I'm gonna say between 50 and 50. Okay. Again, depending on how much frames you cached out. I don't have a lot, so I'm not gonna go with a big value, but it would be interesting to have like bigger values, right? And here I'm gonna go 150. And for now, I'm not gonna change anything regarding the start frame and how fast I'm gonna cache this. I leave it by default. Okay. So now I'm gonna come back here. Where were we? Okay, so let's go back in here to the offset. Alt E. Okay, now that's gonna be just the annoying part. It's gonna be a long expression, so actually to save me time, I'm gonna grab the first one. I'm gonna grab this one to start with. So copy. Okay, paste relative references, and now I have something to start to work with. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do this. Sorry about it. Plus. I'm gonna use now this. How do you say? Two random offsets values we had. So floor. I need. And now I'm gonna use a fit 01 expression. Again, random. So it's always the same kinds of expression. So now I'm gonna copy this part, and I'm just gonna change the parameter name. So here, what I want to use, it's my seed parameter. And I'm gonna multiply this by hold on, yes, I'm still inside my random, so multiplied by dollar $ptnum. Okay, and now I'm gonna paste again, and now I'm gonna get offerand 1 and offerand 2. So that's what we're adding on top of our offset. Okay, accept. Now same for the multiplier attribute. So this is, we're just gonna grab this one here, copy and paste relative reference. We go to here. I think we go to here. I think just for this one, this time we should. Okay, so now I copy paste this one. And on my time shift here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna. No, that's not what I want. Okay, go up. So copy this one, copy, go down here. Oops, not this one here. And paste relative reference. Okay, doing the same now here. Copy reference, frame up, copy, paste reference, and finally no, I'm actually not gonna do that because we're using expressions here. So I'm gonna use this temp expression actually for this one. Okay, so speaking of, let's prepare those temp expressions. So mult, then multi offset and finally ID. So this is going to be dollar multi yep, just want to check. Okay, and it crashed. Okay, so I'm gonna reopen it. Okay, so I'm not gonna display this right away. So we were setting up a stem, so dollar multi. So let me just check. Okay, I'm not gonna force it right now. It should work. Dollar offset. Oops. Dollar offset and dollar ID. Okay. There. Actually, just turn this one off for now. I don't need it. One thing, actually, I'm not gonna use this. I'm gonna bring here an object merge. And I'm gonna go to my fire preview. And I'm gonna grab, I think, the output. Let me just check that. Yeah, that should be just fine. And I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to call this fire. That should work here to use a stamp expression. So backdate and stamp. Then we grab ID and otherwise 0. Okay, the one thing I want to do quickly here, it's make sure it's set on mesh and not fire. Okay, let me take those two and put these to a mesh. I'm gonna save and I'm gonna create here a null. And this is gonna be out display mesh. Okay, the one we want to render, use for the render is gonna be the out points. Okay, let's hope. I'm gonna check one more thing. Make sure it kept. Yeah, okay. I hope it's not gonna crash. Okay, it's erroring. So why is that erroring? Okay, those are working. Let me check. So ID is correct. So why doesn't it let me? Let me try to do this. Oh, right. No. Sorry. Wait. Still need to put here anyway the stamp expressions. So, just in case, I'm gonna put the entire path. I'm wondering if that could be an issue. And I said multi. And then here, that's gonna be offset. And okay, if that doesn't work, I'm gonna do it differently. So that's gonna be fire 0. And this is gonna be up digits. Okay, why is that still not working? Oh, No, that seems to be working, isn't it? Okay, save. Okay, so now I'm able to display fires. Okay. It's still slow to load, but yeah, it's already way faster than if it would have been volumes. Okay, cool. And here I'm gonna just come and put a switch. And save this. And that was ID. And again, put as many fires as you had, okay? So why is this one now erroring? We do have fire 1. Oh, that could be just maybe too many offsets. Could it be? No? So why is this one erroring now? That's always so frustrating. So it's using ID. Okay, okay, that works. If I switch it now to 1, that's erroring. So why is that erroring? Oh, okay. Why is that? Okay, it seems to have an issue here, so let me just check quickly in here. Fire 1 mesh. I have a mesh, so not sure why this is erroring. So let me just check my caches really quick. Geo. Oh, right. I did put it in there for now because I had issues. Houdini Geo Fire 1. Right. Okay. That's why they compressed. So don't do what I'm gonna do now. I'm not gonna re-export it. I'm just quickly gonna do a temp fix here for me. I should re-export them properly to prevent this to happen. Okay, that's just for me a temp fix. Okay, but I would prefer if you have a proper naming convention. Okay, so now that works. So I can go back in here and go back to ID. Yeah, ID. There we go. And as I can see, they don't have any differences here. So let me just check the offset quickly. Okay, they all have here the same offset. Why is that? So Why is this returning 0? Let me bring PT. Oh, I know why. Okay. Because we multiply always the values for the seed, I'm not gonna allow it to be 0. So I'm gonna edit this and the seed. I'm gonna lock this one to point. Even a small value, that's fine, but I don't want any seeds to be locked at 0. Because whatever we multiply by this is gonna be 0, so it's not gonna do its purpose. Same here. Okay, seed. Edit. Parameters. And seed. Okay, there we go. Now we got some different values. Whoa, what is going on there? Okay, just Houdini being a little bit crazy. Okay, save my hip file. Okay, and now I really see some offsets in my caches. Awesome. So last thing we want to do here, it's set up the node we're going to use to render. So geo fire render. Oops, it's not going to be not geo. It's going to be an instance node, and this one I'm going to go to fire render. And on the instance tab, I'm going to go from point instancing, from off, put it to full point instancing. Okay. Dive in, delete the add sub, and now I'm going to bring in object merge, and I'm going to merge all the points we just prepared. Okay. So if I come here to set up fire out points as a export relative path. Okay. And I'm just going to bring a file cache here. So it's not 100% necessary to do that step. The reason I'm going to do this, I want to make sure when if I work with a render farm, that when I submit it onto multiple blades, I'm not going to have some floating point errors, okay? Because that's due to the hardware. The floating values are changing from one computer to the other, but that's at a really, really low level. But that's going to be enough to change our seed values. And then it might break our offsets, for example, or whatever other attributes that are based on our seed values. So just to prevent that, I'm writing it out. So I'm locking all my attribute values, offset, multiplier, ID, whatever. Okay. And like this, I'm really sure that when it goes on the farm on multiple blades, I'm never going to get any of those errors. So this I could call this fire PC for point cloud, and I'm just gonna write this. It's already to 120, so that's perfect. Just render that out. Yeah, but I think it did save everything. Okay, it was really fast. Let me just check my detail view. If I go here to instance, I said instance, okay, that's fine, should be good. Okay, so and a null. Okay, now I'm gonna go quickly to the output, and actually let me just quickly before I create my mantra. Rob. Yeah, I don't have any camera, so let's go quickly here and just set the camera. Yeah, we don't have a camera, so up, view, just gonna go for 27p, that's fine. Okay, now go to the output, mantra. So let's call this fire. $120. Now it's looking at the correct camera objects. So I'm gonna bring A to render the fire render node. Geo, okay. Force mat, I'm gonna bring in the house. So micropolygon rendering. Okay. A low motion blur. I'm gonna bring it a little bit up. Motion 5.5. Leave this by default. Get a little bit higher volume quality. And I'm gonna leave everything else as it is. I'm gonna see what that gets us. So that was empty. So yeah, in the next video we're gonna debug this to see what went wrong and